Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So in my last video, I was reading the chapter 1 and 2 of this book, that is As a Man Thinketh, which is written by James Allen. And today in this video, you are going to see I will read the after 1 and 2 chapters, the chapters after 1 and 2. So let's go and start reading out. So this is chapter 3, Effect of Thought on Health and the Body. The body is the servant of the mind, it obeys the operations of mind whether they be deliberately chosen or automatically expressed. At the bidding of unlawful thoughts, the body sinks rapidly into disease and decay. At the command of glad and beautiful thoughts, it's become clothed with youthfulness and beauty. Disease and health, like circumstances, are rooted in thought. Sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. Thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as specified as a bullet, and they are continually killed thousands of people just as surely, though less rapidly. The people who live in the fear of disease are the people who get it. Anxiety quickly demoralizes the whole body and lays it open the entrance of disease, while impure thoughts, even if not physically indulged, will sooner shatter the nervous system. Strong, pure, and happy thoughts build up the body in vigor and grace. The body is the delicate and plastic instrument, which respond readily to the thoughts by which it is impressed, and habits of thought will produce their own effects, good or bad, upon it. Men will continue to have impure poison blood so as long as they propagate unclean thoughts. Out of the clean heart comes a clean life and a clean body. Out of the defiled mind proceeds a defiled life, corrupt body and thought is the font of accent, and the manifestation make the fountain pure, and all will be pure. Change of diet will not help a man who will not change his thoughts. When a man makes his thoughts pure, he no longer desire impure food. If you would perfect your body, guard your mind. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. Thoughts of malice, envy, disappointment, de- despondency rob the body of the health and grace. A sore face does not come by chance, it is made by sore thought. Wrinkles that mar are drawn by folly, passion, pride. I know a woman 96 who has bright, innocent face of a girl. I know a man well under middle age whose face is drawn into inharmonious contours. The one is the result of sweet and sunny disposition, the other is the outcome of passionate discontent. As you cannot have a sweet, wholesome abode unless you admit the air and sunshine freely into your room. So a strong body and a bright, happy, or serene countenance can only result from the free admittance into the mind of thoughts of joy, good will, and serenity. On the faces of age there are wrinkles made by sympathy, others are strong and pure thoughts, and others are carved by passion who cannot distinguish them. With those who have lived age is calm, peace, and softly mellowed. Like the setting sun, I have recently seen a philosopher on his deathbed. He was not old ex- except in years. He died as sweetly and peacefully as he had lived. There is no physician like cheerful thought for dissipating the ill of the body. There is no comforter to compare with goodwill for dispersing the shadows of grief and sorrow. To live continually in thoughts of ill will, cynicism, suspicion, and envy is to confide in a self-made prison hole. But to think well of all, to be cheerful with all, and patiently learn to find the good in all. With such unselfish thoughts are the very portals of heaven, and to dwell day by day in thoughts of peace toward every creature will bring abounding peace to the processor. So moving ahead with the chapter 4, that is thought and purpose. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. With the majority of barbecue of thought is allowed to drift upon the ocean of life. Aimlessness is vice, and such drifting must not continue for him who would steer clear of catastrophe and distraction. catastrophe, and destruction. They who have no control purpose in their life, all in easy pretty worry, fears, troubles, and self-pitying, all of which lead just as surely as deliberately planned since through by a different route to failure, to unhappiness, and a loss. For weakness cannot persist in the power evolving universe. A man should conceive of a legitimate purpose in his heart and set out to accomplish it. He should make this purpose the centralizing point of his thought. It may take the form of a spiritual ideal, or it may be a worldly object, according to his nature at the time being. But whichever it is, he should steadily focus on his thought forces upon the object which he has set before him. He should make this purpose his supreme duty and should devote himself to this attainment, not allowing his thought to wander away into ephemeral fancies, longings, and imaginings. This is the royal road to self-control and the true concentration of thought. Even if he fails again and again to accomplish his purpose as he necessarily must until weakness is overcome, the strength of character gained will be the measure of his true success, and this will form a new starting point for future power and triumph. Those who are not prepared for the apprehensions of great purpose should fix their thoughts upon the faultless performance of their duty, no matter how insignificant their task may appear. Only in this way can thought be gathered and focused, the resolution and energy be developed, which being done, there is nothing may not be accomplished. The weakest soul, knowing his own weakness and believing its truth, that strength can only be developed by effort and practice, will be will at once begin to begin to exert itself and adding effort to effort, patient to patient, and strength to strength, will never cease to develop and will at last grow divinely strong. As the physically weak man can make himself strong by careful and patient training, so the man of weak thoughts can make them strong by exercising himself in right thinking. Put away aimlessness and weakness, and to begin with think with purpose, is to enter the ranks of those strong ones who only recognize failure as one of the pathway to attainment, who make all conditions serve them, and who think strongly, attempt fearlessly, and accomplish masterfully. Having conceived of his purpose, a man should mentally mark out a straight pathway to his achievement, looking neither to the right nor to the left. Doubts and fears should be rigorously excluded. They are disentertaining elements which break up the straight line of effort, rendering it crooked, ineffectual, useless. Thought of doubt and fear never accomplish anything and never can. They always lead to failure. Purpose, energy, power to do, and all the strong thoughts cease when doubt and fear creep in. They will do the springs from the knowledge that we can do. Doubt and fear are the great enemy of knowledge, and he can encourage them, who does not slay them. Thought, thought himself at every state. He who has conquered doubt and fear had conquered himself. His every thought is allied with power, and all the difficulties bravely made and wisely overcome. His purpose are seasonably planted, and they bloom and bring forth fruit, which does not prematurely to fall prematurely to the ground. Thought allied fearlessly to purpose becomes creative force. He who knows this is ready to become something higher and stronger than a mere bundle of wavering thought and fluctuating sensations. He who does this has become the conscious and intelligent wielder of this his mental powers. So moving at chapter number 5, that is the thought factor in achievement. All that a man achieve and all that he fails to achieve in the direct result of his own thoughts. In a justly ordered universe where loss of equipoise would mean total destruction, individual responsibility must be absolute. A man's weakness and strength, purity and impurity are his own, and another man's and not another's man. They are brought about. They are brought about by himself and not by another, and they can only be altered by himself, never by another. His condition is also his own and not another man's. His suffering and his happiness are evolved from within. As he thinks, so he is. As he continues to think, so he remains. A strong man cannot help a weaker unless the weaker is willing to be helped. And even then the weak man must become strong of himself. He must by his own effort develop the strength which he admires in other. None but himself can alter his condition. It has been usual for men to think and to say, Many men are slaves because one is the oppressor, let us hate the oppressor." Now, however, there is among an increasing few a tendency to reverse this judgment and to say one man is an oppressor because many are slaves. Let us despise the slaves. The truth is that oppressor and slave are co-operators in ignorance, and while seeming to afflict each other, are in reality affecting themselves. A perfect knowledge perceives the action of law in the weakness of oppressed and the misapplied power of the oppressor. A perfect love, seeing the suffering which both state entail, condemns neither. A perfect compassion embraces both oppressor and oppressed. He has he who has conquered he who has conquered weakness and has put away all selfish thought belongs neither to oppressor nor oppressed, he is free. A man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting his thought. He can only remain weak and abject, miserable by refusing to lift up his thought. Before a man can achieve anything, even worldly things, he must lift his thought above slavish animal indulgence. He may not, in order to succeed, give up all animality and selfishness by any means, but a portion of it must, at least, be sacrificed. A man whose first thought is bestial indulgence could neither think clearly nor plan methodically. He could not find and develop his latent resources and would fail in undertaking, not having commenced manfully to control his thought. He is, he is not in position to control affairs and to adopt serious responsibilities. He is not fit to act independently and stand alone. But he is limited only by the thoughts which he chooses. But he is limited only by the thoughts which he chooses. Therefore can be no progress, no achievement without sacrifice, and a man's worldly success will be the measure that he sacrifices his confused animal thoughts and fixes his mind on the development of his plans and the strengthening of his resolution and self-reliance. And the higher he lifts his thought and more manly, upright and righteous he becomes, the greater will be his success, the more blessed and enduring will be his achievement. The universe does not favor the greedy, the dishonest, the vicious, although on mere surface it may sometimes appear to do so. It helps honest, magnanimous, and virtuous. All the great teachers of the ages have declared this is varying forms, and to prove and know it is a man has but to persist in making himself more and more virtuous by uplifting up his thoughts. Intellectual involvement achievement are the result of thoughts cons- consecrated to a search for knowledge or for the beautiful and true in life and nature. Such achievement may be sometimes connected with vanity and ambition, but they are not outcome of those characteristics. They are natural outgrowth of long and arduous effort and of pure and unselfish thought. A spiritual achievement are the consummation of holy aspirations. He who lives constantly in the conception of noble and lofty thought, who dwells upon all that is pure and unselfish, will as surely as sun reaches its zenith and the moon its full, become wise and noble in character, and rise into the position of influence and blessedness. Achievement of whatever kind is the crown of effort, the diadem of thought. By the aid of self-control, resolution, purity, righteous, and well-directed thought, a man ascends. By the aid of animality, indolence, impurity, corruption, and confusion thought, a man descends. A man may rise to high success in the world and even to lofty altitude in spiritual realm, and again descend into weakness and richness by allowing arrogant, selfish, and corrupt thought to take possession of him. Victory is attained by right thought, and only we maintain watchfulness. Many give way when success is assured and rapidly fall back into failure. All achievement, whether in the business, intellectual, or spiritual world, are the result of definitely directed thought, are governed by the same law, and are of the same method. The only difference lies in the object of attainment. He who he who would accomplish little must sacrifice little. He who would achieve much must sacrifice much. He who would attain highly much sacrifice greatly. So moving ahead with chapter number 6, that is visions and ideals. The dreamers and the saviors of the world. As the visible world is attained by the invisible, so men through all their trial and sins or dead vocations are nourished by the beautiful vision of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their idols fade and die. It lives in them. It knows them in our realities, which is shall one day see and how. Composers, sculptors, painter, poet, prophet, seeds, these are the makers of the afterworld, the artifact of heaven. The world is beautifully because they have lived. Without them, living humanity would perish. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Columbus cherished a vision of another world and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of multiplicity of worlds and a wide universe, and he revealed it. Buddha beheld the vision of a spiritual world of stainless beauty and perfect peace, and he entered into it. Cherish your visions, cherish your idols. Here is the music that stays into your heart, the beauty that forms in your mind, the loveliness that traps your purest thought. For out of them will grow all delightful condition, all heavenly environment of these. If you but remain true of them, your world will be at last be built. To desire is to obtain, to aspire is to achieve. Shall man's basest desire receive the fullest measure of gratification, and his purest thought starve for lack of sustenance. Such is not a law, such a condition of things can never obtain, ask and achieve. Dream deal, lofty dream, and as you dream, you shall you become. Your vision is promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. The greatest achievement was at first and for a time of dream. The oak sleep in the corn, the bird awaits in the egg, and in the higher vision of a soul and uh, waking angel stays. Dreamers are the seedings of reality. The circumstances may be uncongenial, but this shall not remain so. If you perceive an idol and strive to reach it, you cannot travel within and stand still without. Here is a thought: youth had pressed by poverty and labor, confined long years in the unhealthy workshop, unschooled and lacking all the arts of refinement. But he dreams of better things. He thinks of intelligence or of refinement of grace and beauty. He conceives of mentally builds up an ideal condition of life. The vision of wider liberty and a larger scope take possession of him. Andres urges him to action and he utilize all the spare time and means, small though they are, the development of his latent power and resources. Very soon, so altered as his thought, his mind become that the works of can no longer hold him. It has become so out of harmony with his mentally that it falls out of his life as a garment is cast aside, and with the growth of opportunities, with the fit of a scope of his expanding power, he passes out of the of forever. Years later, we see this youth as a full-grown man. We find him a master of certain forces of the mind which he wields with wider worldwide influence and almost unequaled power. In his hand, he holds the cord of gigantic responsibilities. He speaks and lo, leaves and change. Men and women hang upon his word, demold their character, and sunlike he became his the fixed and luminous center around which innumerable destinies revolve. He has realized the vision of his thought. He has become one with his idol. And you too, youthful reader, will realize the vision, not the idle wish of your heart, be it base and beautiful, or a mixture of both. For you will always gravitate toward which you secretly most love. Into your hands will be played the exact result of your own thoughts. You will receive that which you want, no more, no less. Whatever your present environment may be, you will fail, remain, or rise with thoughts, your vision, your idol. You will become as small as your controlling desire, as great as your dominant inspiration. In the beautiful world of Stanko, Stanton Kirkham Davis, you may be keeping accounts, and presently you shall walk out of the door that for so long has seemed to you the barrier of your idols, and shall find yourself before an audience, the pen still behind the ear, the ink stain on your finger, and there shall pour out of the torrent of your inspiration. You may be driving sleep, and you shall wander to the city, bucolic and open-mouthed, shall wander under the intre, intrepid guidance of the spirit into the studio of the master, and after a time he shall say, I have nothing more to teach you, and now you have become the master. Do you recently dreamed of great things while driving sea? You shall lay down the saw and the plane to take upon yourself regeneration of the world. The thoughtless, the ignorant, and the indolent, seeing only the apparent effects of things and not the things themselves, talk of love, of fortune, and chance. Seeing a man grow rich, they say how lucky he is. Observing another become intellectual, they explain how highly favored he is. And nothing the stately character and wide influence of another, the remark how chance aid him at every turn. They do not see the trials and failures and struggles which these men have voluntarily encountered in order to gain their experience, have no knowledge of the sacrifices they have made, of the undoubted effort they have put forth, of the faith they have exercised, and they might overcome the apparently insurmountable and realize the vision of their heart. They do not know the darkness of the heart is, and only see the light and joy, and call it luck. Do not see the long and arduous journey, and only behold the pleasant goal, and call it good fortune. Do not understand the process, and only perceive the result, and call it chance. In all human affairs, there are efforts and there are results, and the strength of effort is measure of the result. Chance is not gifts, power, material, intellectual, spiritual position are the fruits of effort. They are thoughts completed, object accomplished, vision realized. The vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you endurance in your enthurance in your heart. This you will build your life by. This you will become. So this is the last chapter, that is seventh one, and named Serenity. So how a man thinked is totally the book which is written. So actually I found it good. So let's go ahead and finish it off. Calmness of mind is the one of the beautiful jewel of wisdom. It is the result of long and patient effort and self-control. It's present in indication of ripened experience and of a more than ordinary knowledge and the laws and operation of thought. A man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought evolved being. For such knowledge necessity the understanding of others as a result of thought, and as he develops a right understanding and sees more and more clearly internal relation of things by the action of cause and effect. He chooses to fuss and fume and worry and grieve, and remain poised, steadfast, serene. The calm man, having learned how to govern himself, know how to adapt himself to others, and they in turn reverence his spiritual strength and feel that they can learn of himself and rely upon him. The more tranquil a man becomes, the greater is his success, his influence, his power for good. Even the ordinary trader will find his business prosperity increase as he develop a greater self-control and equanimity. For people who will all prefer to deal with a man who demeanor is strongly equable. The strong, calm man is always loved and rewarded. He like a shade giving tree in the thirsty island, or a sheltering rock in a storm. Who does not love a tranquil heart, a sweet-tempered, balanced life? It does not matter whether it rains or shines, or what changes come to those possessing these blessings, for they are always sweet, serene, and calm. The executive poise of character, which will serenity in the last lesson of culture, it is the flowering of life, the fruitage of the soul. It is precious as wisdom, more to desire than gold, yeah, than even fine gold. How insignificant mere money seeking looks in comparison with a serene life, a life that dwells in the ocean, truth beneath the waves, beyond the reach of tempest in the eternal calm. How many people we know who saw their life, who ruin all that is sweet, beautiful by explosive temper, who destroy their poise of character and make bad blood. It is the question whether the great majority of people do not ruin their life and mar their happiness by lack of self-control. How for a few people we met in life who are well balanced, who have that execute poise, which is characteristics of the finished character. Yes, humanity surge with uncontrolled passion is tumultuous with ungoverned grief, is blown about by anxiety and doubt. Only the wise man, only whose thoughts are controlled and purified, make the wind and the storms of the soul obey him. Tempest toasts all wherever ye may be, under whatsoever condition ye may live. Know this: in the ocean of life, the essence of blessedness are smiling, and the sunny shore of your idol awaits your coming. Keep your hand firmly upon the helm of thought. In the barque of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does not, he does but sleep, wake him. Self control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power. Stay onto your heart. Peace, be still. So, this is the end of this book, and it's totally upon how a person can think to make his life better, to make his life more effective, the choosing the right direction while thinking and always in a positive way instead of rushing and like rushing things. Need to be more calm and more understandable, prioritizing things. So I had I got some clarity from here, and I also completed the books. So from tomorrow I will going ahead with some more excited things. Stay tuned. Bye bye.